I've noticed a trend, and good morning, by the way, everyone. I've noticed a trend that's happening a lot lately of big government and big business both giving people no choices, no options, and then claiming that the person has chosen the outcome of a situation, that they've decided that it's going to be a certain way or a certain outcome. That's what I come up against at Walmart with the self-checkouts. They tell me that I can choose to use them or choose not to use them. But in reality, you go into the store and there's no cashiers. And they refuse to put a cashier on. So really, they're not giving you a choice. Your choice is either shop at Walmart or don't shop at Walmart. But unfortunately, all the other big stores are going the same as Walmart. They're just doing it a little slower. I'm noticing these self-checkouts starting to creep in all over the place. Now, if you're going to give people a choice, then you have to have at least one cashier on and also the self-checkouts available. And at that point, yes, you have a choice. Otherwise, you don't. You can't give a person one option and say, well, you chose this. That's not right. The same thing happened during the whole, the old sneezy wheezy coffee thing there that we had to deal with. And the old stick 'em in the arm type deal. And they said, well, you have a right not to take it. You can choose not to take it. But of course, you won't be able to work. So, you will lose your ability to support your family. You'll lose your ability to pay your bills. You'll be put out on the street, basically, with no means of support if you don't take it. I know a girl who was working out west, and her job required her to take it. And at first she refused. And they said, well, that's fine, but you don't work here anymore if you do refuse. And she was out west, and she had no money other than whatever pay she was getting from her job. Of course, and she wasn't allowed to fly without the thing, or to take a train or anything without the thing. So she was unable to come home without it. She'd have been stuck out west with no way of getting home and no means of support or anything. She would have just been wandering the streets with the clothes on her back, basically, and that's it. If she hadn't agreed to take it. I know another lady who's a nurse in one of our local hospitals in this area who didn't want it, and she was told you'll lose your job, and she was forced to take it against her will. And they'll say, well, she chose to take it. Well, I mean, it's sort of like if somebody puts a gun in your face and says your money or your life, you can choose to refuse to give them your money and they'll shoot you. But you see, that wouldn't be a defense for them in court. If they get caught and charged, they can't say, well, that person chose to give me their money because I made a point of giving them a choice. I didn't just say your only choice is to give me your money. They couldn't use that as a defense in court, yet the government and big business uses it all the time. In fact, oftentimes the difference between a criminal act and a normal transaction between two people is coercion. Oftentimes the determining factor in deciding if a criminal act has taken place was there coercion. If you meet somebody and you're attracted to each other, and you decide you're going to engage in sexual activity consensually. Well, that happens all the time between people, and that is not a crime. I mean, many people may look at it as a moral issue, but it certainly isn't a criminal issue. And so, oftentimes if a man is accused of taking a woman by force, taking her against her will, it comes down to coercion. And the decision as to whether a criminal act has occurred hinges on can coercion be proven. Otherwise, it's just a transaction between two people. It's just something that happened between two individuals, something they decided to do together. The same is true, the difference between somebody giving somebody money and somebody robbing somebody is coercion, or somebody giving somebody a material thing and somebody stealing it from them or just taking it from them by force is coercion. So if somebody's on trial for robbery and they're denying that they did a robbery, but their accuser's saying they did, well then you got to prove coercion in order to get a conviction there. You have to show that this person didn't give up whatever it was they lost to this other person willingly. That they didn't give them the money was taken from them by force, basically. Or they didn't give them the car, or the antique vase, or the grand piano, or whatever the heck it is they're accused of stealing. They didn't give that to them voluntarily, they were coerced into giving it to them. And that's how you would establish that a robbery has occurred, you know. And so, as a principle of law, coercion often comes into these types of cases. And again, especially going back to the original point I was making about sexual matters, oftentimes the only two people present, in fact usually the only two people present, are the people that are involved in the situation. So you get into a he said, she said thing, and that's why the element of coercion and proving coercion has to come into it. Anyway, my video size limit is coming to an end here. Basically, I'm seeing corporations and governments doing something that really is criminal.